All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after a couple weeks off, rocking the floral shirt today. Just got done filming 2 episodes of Reviewing Your Customs. We actually finally got around to filming the First Timers Edition episode. That is one that I cannot wait for you guys to see. And then we filmed the final 4 of the floral contest. And man, oh man, these 4 pairs are absolutely insane. I just have to go ahead and post the link to this YouTube live on Instagram right now. Let's make sure we tell everybody on Instagram to come over and join us. Let's see. How we doing today, everybody? Thank you so much for being here on this beautiful Friday afternoon. We're about an hour late. I was supposed to start at 4:30, but it took a little bit longer than expected to finish filming. Oh boy, I'm exhausted. Just talked to a camera with Jason for probably 5 hours, and now I'm here to do it again with you guys. So we won't be able to go 2 hours today, but we'll be able to go a little bit more than an hour after a couple weeks off. But thank you guys so much for being here. So let's see how we're doing. Good to see all of your smiling faces here in the chat room. Let's see, guys. Let's see what's going on. I'm from Puerto Rico. That is awesome. We got a lot of stuff here. Do I see politics? We got people talking politics in the chat. Oh man, let's have fun, guys. So much of the world is just shoving that in our face all throughout the day. Let's come here and have let's have a little lighthearted fun on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Also, we are now 8 days away from, I don't think I've said it since the last live, but we are having the DCF experience in person finally. It was supposed to be April 18th and 19th. Here we are having it August 29th and 30th. 4 months later, absolutely insane. So I reached out to everybody, the 20 people attending the course, and said, hey, you know what I mean? I totally understand not everybody's going to make it. So what I'm going to do with everybody who can't make it is we're going to do a virtual event. And then everybody who can make it, next week we're going to have our 2-day course. But everybody who can't make it, because not everybody's ready to be traveling with, COVID-19, all of those people, I'm going to send them all of their supplies, and then we'll have a full day virtual course for them later. Because I didn't want to just have them join virtually and sort of watch me speak to everybody who could come in person, because I want to focus on everybody who is there in person and really give them the hands-on attention. And then once I do the virtual course at a later date, a couple weeks later, I'll be able to focus on everybody virtually. I won't be dealing with people in person. So let's see. Somebody said, what have I been working on? It has been crazy. It has been crazy. This pair right here is the first portrait pair I have done since our month-long portrait experiment. So I had to show these off, just wrap these up. This Patrick Mahomes portrait, this Chiefs Jordan 1 celebrating their Super Bowl victory this year. We have the Super Bowl branding in metallic on the toe box. Yep. And Chiefs logos on the back. Come on. Still focusing on me. I gotta hide. Come on. Show the people what they want, camera. Not me. Oh, it had it for a sec, but then we have more of the arrowheads featured throughout. So yeah, this is a cool pair. This is a cool pair of Jordan 1s with the Mahomes. Boy, portraits, the number one thing I need to improve on is my speed and efficiency. I'm still terribly slow at them. Those took so long. The Kobe pair I did probably took me about 50 to 55 hours. These probably took me about 30 to 35. So I was a little bit faster, but still. Also, from somebody who has a very short attention span like myself, it's hard to... Something like that, it's really hard for me to lock in for multiple hours at a time. I have a bad habit of doing it, but I very seemingly have to take breaks every 20 to 30 minutes and check Instagram or something else pointless when doing something like that. So, yep. Somebody said portrait. Let's see. Let me lower myself. Yeah, I don't want the light to take away too much, so I need to turn it the right way, and then you can kind of see it. I hope that's in focus. It's hard for me to tell. So, let's see. So, Syncytia says how much for the virtual class. So we're not offering that for everybody. That's just for anybody who signed up for the DCF experience and can't attend the in-person course. Now, I also gave them the option. Hey, if you just want to come to a future event, you're okay. You're not, in a rush. That's okay. I'll hold all your stuff. I'll hold your shoes because we're supplying shoes, paints, supplies, everything. I just got some branded boxes for the course in. We got some merch. We got merch specific for the course, which I'm really excited about. And then we will have our first sort of official merch drop. We're going to have 3 items. Jason probably won't want me to say them, so I won't say them, but we're going to have 3 items. I would say the first official merch shop will probably be within the next month and a half. It's going to be geared towards fallish, you could say. So yeah, we also got some new stickers. Let me show you the new stickers. These are fun. We got the Just Create stickers. Super hyped about these. Sending all of these out with all of our stencil orders now and whatnot. Stencil orders have been booming. Thank you for anybody who's placed a stencil order, and we appreciate your patience. We have been absolutely slammed, so thank you for that. But yeah, we got some new stickers. We have some other ones over there with the DCF logo, but really excited about these Just Create ones. Let's see. Do you recommend painting the sole for Air Force Ones? Asked by Diamond Garner. I do not. I do not ever recommend painting the soles of Air Force Ones. That's definitely going to come off. Optima GLG says, wait, the course comes with supplies. The course comes with 2 pairs of shoes, a ton of paint, an airbrush, and a compressor. And we made sure to go all out for our first course, our first 20 people. It's obviously everybody's going through a lot this year, but it is so unfortunate that we're so close. We were a month away from I was so pumped. It's been such a long time coming for us to want to host a sneaker course. And yeah, this year has been crazy for everybody. So just unfortunate timing, but I'm very excited to meet everybody who is able to come. And I'm equally excited to meet everybody virtually who isn't able to attend the in-person one. I think both will present different challenges. And as somebody who just really enjoys teaching, I'm just going to have to figure my way out through both. So excited for the challenge. How do you paint the sock liner on Air Force Ones? You just paint it with a little bit of Too Soft at a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's a little bit more ideal if you paint it with an airbrush rather than a paintbrush. We got a super chat here. Thank you from Anthony Amos. Says, greetings from Forest Park, bro. Do you ever collab with local artists? We are definitely down. We're always sort of up for one thing that always comes to mind is can we make sort of a cool YouTube video out of something with a local artist? Absolutely. I'm not sure if you do custom shoes or if you do another form of art, but just something that always really excites me is the idea of I always sort of go back to the show called Ink Master. It's a tattoo competition, and they have these flash challenges before the actual tattoo competition, and it's all the tattoo artists, and they'll do a challenge of some crazy form of art. They'll have to create some artwork with colored rubber bands or colored tacks and have to put something on a tack board or something crazy. So I always sort of think, can we do some sort of cool artist challenge where maybe we're both working on a different medium or something like that? Or maybe if you do custom shoes and we say, here, you have 8 hours to paint a shoe and you're limited to these colors, go. You know what I mean? We could do cool stuff like that. So we are absolutely open to it. And one of the things we said, we created one of those YouTube videos at the start of the year, sort of an outlook for the year. What would be some of our goals for the year? And one of them was absolutely to collab with more YouTubers. So definitely. Thank you for sending in that super chat, buddy. Did you see the Lakers are wearing Mamba jerseys for Monday 8/24? I did. Those black ones. Those are dope. I was in talks for a sponsored video with Fiverr. We got pretty far into the talks. We were going to do something cool for Kobe Day 8/24. That is Monday, right? Yeah. And I was deep into talks with Fiverr. We were going to do something really cool, a really cool video, and it fell through. I think it fell through due to timing. Unfortunately, it was a really short turnaround. We started talking early August, and we were going to do something cool. We were very close to getting that, but yeah, not everything works out. But hope to work with them in the future. XXX God of War XX with the super chat. Thank you so much. Says, what was your most expensive custom? That is a great question. If I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, since everything went crazy this year, I have probably sold, truth be told, I have probably sold my 10 most expensive shoes since this year started. I just think this year started with everything moving in the direction it has been with the business, with how busy we are with YouTube, with stencils, with everything else. Just my time, the way I've had to value my time has gone up, and being now this year, this is the first year that I've been a married man. I now have a son who is a year and a half. So knowing I need to spend time, and of course want to spend time with my family, just the way that I value my time has gone up. So all of my shoes have absolutely gone up. So specifically the most expensive pair. What was the most expensive pair? Specifically the most expensive one. Well, I had a couple pairs of Trinidad Jordan 4s that were auctioned off years back. When we did pairs for Trinidad James and his some of his entourage, we then sold 5 pairs on eBay that were auctioned off, and all of those sold for multiple thousands. But yeah, I would say everything this year has been above the $1,000 range, and that was something that, quite frankly, I was almost didn't have enough faith in myself in years past to throw out numbers like that, and you have to really believe you're worth what you're charging. That's sort of one of the biggest things. That's why, a lot of people will ask, reach out and say, hey, what do you think these are worth? And it's totally subjective. I could tell you what do I think sort of their market value is, but your artwork is totally up to you and the price that you think it's worth. And the old saying, artwork is worth what somebody will pay for. You know what I mean? And so if somebody wants a pair from me, it comes at a price because of how I value my time, truth be told. So yeah, but believe me, this didn't happen in year one of me painting shoes. I'm now 8 years in or something like that. So let me see here. Sarah says, when will the next course be? I would have really loved to do the courses probably quarterly, about 4 times a year, maybe 3-4 times a year. That would have sort of been our schedule, every 3 months or so. But unfortunately, just with everything that happened, also there's not necessarily an end in sight for this. You know what I mean? It's not like, not to even turn this into a political thing, but as far as if a vaccine comes, not everybody's going to want to deal with that right away. So it's hard to say that it would be. You'd have a little bit of blind hope at this point if you just said, well, hopefully everything's good by the fall, or hopefully everything's good by the winter 2021. You know what I mean? So I think everybody has to adapt and find a way to work around it. So maybe some of our courses will have to, the venue we have for this first course is huge. Everybody can absolutely be spread out if they so choose, and maybe rather than 20 people for future courses, we have that scaled down even more so. That is definitely an option. But if it were up to me, I would like to do the courses probably every 3 to 4 months or so. I see Danny Green KP here has a question. Is beige a good color for Goku skin? Beige is going to be a little bit too brown. You're going to need a lot of white into there, and then you're probably going to need a little bit of smidge of petal pink. So beige is just going to be too dark of a color. You'd be close, even Play in the Sand is lighter, but even that needs to be lightened a lot further for Goku. So you're going to be a lot closer, starting off with mainly white, a little bit of petal pink, and probably a little bit of Play in the Sand. Nino, let me see. Nino Shaka Burgo says, where can I buy Louis Vuitton stencils from a secure online shop? So we used to have them on Etsy, but Etsy really cracked down on sellers having LV or Gucci stencils over the years. So you could probably still find some other sellers on Etsy who have them. If not, I can still make them for you. Reach out to me, shoot me an email, contact@DeJesusInc.com, and we can get you hooked up with a pair of those. Let's see, another super chat came in here. Let me see. 111 people. Message retracted. Optima GLG. Just at me. And here's another one. Here it is. Welcome to the Father Club. Would you be willing to share where you get your cardboard shoeboxes like the one we see? Yeah, absolutely. So, the cardboard shoeboxes, this is called a mailer style box. Originally, these were from Packlane.com. You can get them in a lot of set sizes, or you can get your own custom size. We had to go a little bit bigger with our boxes because we do a lot of athletes, so cleats are a little bit bigger. So we had to size up from kind of your standard shoebox size. I think these are something like 14.5 by 10 by 5, just off the top of my head. So they're comparable to maybe a large size 13-ish classic orange Nike box. Another site is Uprinting, but then we decided once we wanted to go to order in a larger quantity and get our cost per box down, we then started talking with some local manufacturers. To get that down, you just have to have more upfront cost to purchase print plates and things like that. But at a smaller number, not talking huge quantities, I would use Packlane.com. The first run we had was for $250, and then the second run we had was for $500. And then after that, once I wanted to order in the thousands and I wanted to get my cost down since I was going to be ordering so many, that's when I started talking with the local manufacturers. Yep. ONB says, are you Latino? I am half. So my father is half Mexican and half Puerto Rican. So my dad's father was from Puerto Rico and my dad's mother was from Mexico. And then my mother is Caucasian. She is a mixture of a lot of things, a little bit of Irish, mainly a lot of Irish, actually. So yeah, I'm a mixture of a lot of different things. But yeah, the DeJesus is my last name, for those of you that don't know. And yes, that is a Puerto Rican last name. There was a baseball player on the Cubs. I'm born and raised in Chicago. There was a baseball player on the Cubs years back, named David DeJesus. That's my father's name. And funny enough, David DeJesus on the Cubs, the baseball player, was married a woman named Kim. And so did my father. So my mom's name is Kim. So that has always been funny to me too. Yep. Let's see here. Okay, so Sarah says, can I use, instead of Too Soft, a pouring medium? Because Angelus doesn't do shipping on where I live. So if you can't get Too Soft, you would want to use a fabric medium from another company. I think Golden has one, Liquitex, maybe Createx. I don't know if Createx does, but a lot of the other standard art brands will have a fabric medium, and that is what you are looking for. Let's see. JPJ Custom Kick says, seeing as you can mix Angelus and Too Soft, have you ever made and sold custom clothing, jeans or t-shirts? I have done a couple of jean jackets. I have never painted on jeans or t-shirts. However, let me see if I can give something away. Let me see if I can find it in a message from Jason here, because it is pretty dang cool. Yeah. All right. Little spoiler. So for our merch for the DCF experience, we're going to have custom aprons and we're going to have a t-shirt for everybody. So check this out. So your standard DCF logo on the front, and then on the back, last year we have a YouTube video of me painting a jean jacket for Jason with a sugar skull and snake tattoo design. And look what we did on the back here. We left it white so that everybody, not necessarily the day of the course, but you can paint this on the shirt. So I can't wait to do this too. So I actually had this vectorized by an artist on Fiverr, and Yes, so this is on the back of the shirt. It says the DCF Experience Chicago, Illinois 2020, and then they'll be able to paint that. So I'm super excited about that. That's really cool. Let's see here. Let's see. RH with a great question. RH says, how would you rate yourself amongst all other customizers you know of? If I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I have always been somebody, I have never once, in anything I've done, I've always just gone in with, I will call it blind confidence. Like, I just feel I can do something. For example, I didn't start playing sports till I was a little bit later in life. I didn't really start. I've always enjoyed sports, but I really didn't play sports until I moved from Chicago to the suburbs. And that's when I started playing baseball, basketball, and I started kind of late. And I was never the best, but I was always confident enough in myself that I'm somebody who thinks they're better than they actually are. You could call me J.R. Smith, all right? I think I'm the best player on the court. You know what I mean? Never afraid to take the big shot, anything like that. So even if I know I can absolutely say there's artists better than me, I'm still confident enough to put myself up against them. You know what I mean? If I had to pick the best customizer, I think the GOAT of the customizing world is Mosh, without a doubt. You know what I mean? But I would absolutely love to go toe to toe in a battle with Mosh. You know what I mean? And I would walk in with confidence, just because that's the type of, I don't know, that's just sort of the mindset my parents instilled in me. That I mean, my dad just said my entire life, anything you set your mind to, you can do it. You know what I mean? And it probably sounds cliche. It probably sounds like something that a lot of parents might say, but it is just something that has always stuck with me, for sure. So Jesse says, don't do Swish like that. He's a damn bucket. He's a walking bucket. And he didn't get enough minutes in game one. Then last night he took more shots than LeBron. Coincidentally enough, the Lakers got a blowout. So yeah, that's just me. That's just the mindset. Just if that's just how I feel. That if you're gonna do something, try to be great at it. You know what I mean? That's really, 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 truly how I feel. Like when I think one of the biggest challenges I put myself through over the past few years was trying to be good at portraits, because portraits scared the ever living heck out of me, because it, like, painting realism, painting human faces where there's so little room for error, it just scared me, and it wasn't something that I was classically trained in or anything like that. So I knew I had to carve out a ton of time to get good at them and practice them. And I knew, hey, I'm gonna go in this with the mindset that I'm gonna come out so much better at these. I knew that after 30 days, I'm not going to be a world-renowned portrait artist, but I'm going to be a hell of a lot better than I was. And I think that over time, I can grow to hopefully be one of the better portrait artists in the sneaker world. You know what I mean? So, absolutely. CW Custom says, 1v1 update. Mosh has finished a Kobe portrait, and DeJesus has moved on to his second grid of sandpaper. I wish I could pin that comment. That is phenomenal. And that is so damn true, because in some of Mosh's videos, he's like, yeah, all right, I got 4 hours to bang out a portrait. And I'm like, are you kidding me? 4 hours? You know, and he's so good at them and so quick at them that he's doing them at such tiny scales and whatnot. It's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, Mosh, he's so damn good. He's so good. Let's see. Ellis Murray says, can you do a drip tutorial on Air Force Ones? We actually have one. If you go back, if you sort our video catalog by most popular, I think it's like our second most popular video, we did a Gucci drip Air Force One. Let's see. Sly Raccoon with a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, how do I paint the foam on NMDs? If you're talking about the little pods on the midsole, since they're rubber, I truly don't have a great recommendation. I've painted them in the past. I think that there might be a thought to paint them with too hard, but they flex a little. They bend when the shoe creases. So that's, especially the front one. The back pod doesn't bend as much. So I might add in a little bit of too hard, but yeah, just acetone them. I try to dye them first. The dye will seep into that rubber. But it could still crack. So there's not a method that I can give you that I truly feel confident in that, hey, if you go and do this, you're going to have a fully wearable thing. But I would acetone them. I wouldn't really sand down the rubber. That wouldn't be needed. But I would dye them and then probably maybe 10 to 15% too hard into my paint if you were to do it. Yep. Man. Thank you guys for sending in all these great questions. There's so many questions coming in. Please feel free to send them again a little bit later. No need to spam, but I try to get to as many questions of your guys as possible. Let's see. Sarah says, how did you start getting into portraits? I just said, hey, I need to carve out a month's worth of time where I am just going to practice portraits every single day. I have a video documenting the experience. The video probably came about maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. So definitely go and check that video out. I talked through some of the courses that I did and things like that. So definitely check that video out. Olivia M says, what to do when losing motivation? What to do when losing motivation? It's really easy to get tunnel vision. So what you need to do is sort of step away. You know what I mean? That's the first thing to do. Step away because you know, I'm not sure if you're necessarily saying, hey, I'm losing motivation on a pair I'm working on, or I'm losing motivation with where my business is heading. But take a step back and sort of, you know, reconsider where you're at. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think when working on a portrait that I know is going to take me 30 to 50 hours, it's very easy for me to lose motivation knowing how much is ahead and then looking at little things like, did I nail that right? Do I, you know, when I was doing this portrait, for example, I have this tiny little Super Bowl branding on the jersey, and I'm looking at that like, did I do it right? Because, you know, the lighting of the photograph, did I nail it? You know what I mean? I'm trying to make it as realistic to the photograph as possible. And believe me, it's easy. But sometimes when you take a step back, step away, you just literally go do something else, come back and like, okay, that looks all right, but maybe I could tweak this. And if you're talking about maybe your business as a whole, you know what I mean? Take a step back and say, okay, what am I doing right? Give yourself some positive affirmation first. What am I doing that's working? And how can I potentially double down on that? And what am I doing that's not working? And how can I fix that? And how can I shift what's not working into something that is working? And try to do that, you know what I mean? But I think one of the biggest things is focus on what's working for you, whether it's on a pair you're working on right now, or if it's your business as a whole. Focus on what's working. So, and then just sort of try to rework it from there. Jesse says, when I lose motivation, I watch Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. Has to be the greatest game I've ever seen, and it inspires me every time. The biggest play of LeBron's career, which is awesome, is going to be a defensive play. And that Mike Breen call gives you chills every time hearing him say, Curry to Iguodala. You know what I mean? You got to love it. And that's going to go down as LeBron's greatest play, a block. And that's fitting. You know what I mean? LeBron's probably going to go down with the most points all time in NBA history. And he's not even necessarily just a scorer. I mean, it's just incredible what he's going to do for the record books and his legacy for basketball. But you ain't topping that guy who's 6-0 in the finals, unfortunately. Let's see here. So we have a follow-up from, let me see here. Follow-up from Sly Raccoon says, the NMDs are the Japanese edition. They are foam. I'm not that familiar, but I'll take a Google search of the Japanese NMD. Yeah, okay. Yep, so they have the similar pods. Yeah, so it's tough just because it's rubber. I don't think it has the best long-term durability. But like I said, I would dye it if possible. And then a little bit of paint and too hard on top. We have Another super chat here from Spooky Grim 13 says, "Hey, I was wondering how to do a snow background like the one the girl did on the Grinch shoe for the Christmas contest. That looked so cool. Thank you." So let's go ahead and pull that pair up. Let me see. Do I have photos of those on Instagram? I think I do. Let's pull those up. On the Grinch shoe from the Christmas contest. I do. Yeah, she did a great job. She did such a good job. Let's go to her Instagram. Because I have group photos of all the shoes, but yeah, she's going to have some. Yeah, okay. Switch over here. Cool. I think it was last stream. It was funny. I was talking when I tried to have my phone screen set up, but it was just a black screen. The phone wasn't connected, and here I was rambling. You guys, Dylan, shut up already! It's a black screen! Sorry, guys. All right. So, yeah. I don't know if you're talking about the inside or the outside. The outsides have a little bit more of a simple where they're just, hand-painted snowflakes. The left shoe here has a little bit of a gradient from the back to the front. You might be talking about the insides where they have this entire scene set up. And wow. So the question was how to do a snow background like the one the girl did on the Grinch shoe for the Christmas contest. Yeah, so if you're just talking about the outside, let's say maybe you are, this was just a very simple gradient that you could easily achieve with a airbrush. You could also probably do a gradient like this with a paintbrush since it's just a medium blue to a darker blue. It's not a super light to a super navy blue or anything like that. And then those are just hand-painted snowflakes. You could potentially do some stencils for something like that, or you could do one of our image transfer techniques with the tracing paper. But if you're talking about one of these entire sets, which maybe you are, let me see if you followed up here, Spooky Grim. Yeah, those were, those are so dope. And that's just really nailing the setting for the character. Great job and some incredible detail here. Absolutely. So yeah, those would be, if you were going to do that, she did that all by hand for sure. And yeah, those were so dope in person. The Christmas contest was crazy, but the final four for this floral contest, oh my goodness. Each of these four pairs could easily win. I have no idea who's going to be the winner. But Spooky Grim, thank you so much for sending in that super chat. That was a truly incredible pair. And yeah, if you're just maybe talking about a little bit of a snowflake stencil, you could absolutely find those online. You could easily trace those out. But if you're talking about one of these full, winter wonderland sets, that's just really sitting down and packing in a ton of scenery, and a ton of time would go into a setting like that for sure. Let's see here. JustStuff07 says, "What up, Seuss? My customs have a different look when I take them outside to review my current progress. I've tried different natural and daylight bulbs, but that hasn't helped. So I use, I think that your customs can look, your artwork can look a little bit different if you head outside in natural lighting. I use the daylight bulbs. Those are my favorite for sure, and I have a lot of them. I have a ton of the daylight bulbs. So that's what I recommend, making sure that your studio has that daylight setting, and then it'll be the closest to that natural outdoor lighting. Let's see. Okay, Repsy says, "Just as DZ has a great question." Just as DZ. Okay. Just as DZ's question is, "Hey DeJesus, how can I get some crispy lines when taping off the sock liner? Should I be using a certain type of tape?" Yes. So there is probably 3 common tapes that I would recommend people try for sock liners and find out what works best for you. The one that I actually like the best is going to be gaffer's tape. Now, this is a tape that a lot of photographers, videographers, people on movie sets will use. It's just in every photographer's bag. Another one that works good is medical tape. The issue with medical tape is that if you are heat setting, blow drying, applying any type of air or anything like that to the shoe throughout your painting process, it melts very easily, it'll shrivel up, and it lifts a little bit easier. The other tape that I then like would just be the classic Scotch beige masking tape, this one. Scotch 2020. But if I had to rank them, I would say Gaffer's tape is my go-to for sock liners. Like if I were, my method for these wasn't to tape off the sock liners on these. But if it were, let's maybe say for argument's sake, I had the red guts and I was going to do a yellow upper, I would tape off the sock liner with Gaffer's tape. Yep. Joe Wakey says, what do you think the top 3 marketplaces to sell customs are? I would say Etsy. I probably wouldn't rank eBay top 3. I would then say your own website, because there's less fees. Etsy has some fees. And then number 3 would, I don't use them. It's hard to, I guess there's these, they're not new, they've been around, but these sites like the Custom Movement, is that CW, what's it called? It's essentially like a, you could kind of almost call it like a website that just features custom shoes from custom artists all around the world. And it's typically at a good price point for people looking for affordable custom shoes. I think it's called the Custom Movement. And those are just growing in popularity. And if you're just starting out, that's probably a good place to, that's probably a decent place to get some more eyes on your shoes. And that's what you're looking for. So I'd probably have Etsy, your own site, and then joining one of those types of things. Let me know if that's what it's called, CW. I think it's called the Custom Movement. Yeah, it's called the Custom Movement. So yeah, a couple questions here about sock liners. Let's see. How many coats do you recommend to do on a sock liner? And when painting the whole shoe, do you paint the sock liner or outer parts first? So if you have a pair like this, let's say I was going to do the tongue and the sock liner all red, and it was all this, the tongue is that, you know, soft, almost neoprene, nylon-y fabric, and then the sock liner is obviously soft. That could all be called the guts of the shoe, the sock liner and the tongue. I like to paint that first and knock it out, get that done with, and then tape that off and then do the rest of the upper. But it sort of depends on the overall design. Sometimes you might need to do the upper first and then the sock liner last or something like that. So it really depends on the overall design. But I know in the video where I did our Madagascar Sunset Moth Jordan 1s, when I had the entirely bright neon orange guts to the shoe, I did that first. So typically I like to do that first, actually. And then as far as how many coats, it just depends on the color. It depends on the color you're starting off with and the color you're trying to get to. If I had to give a blanket number, I probably don't want to go above 3, because that's probably going to start to turn the material a little bit more stiff. So if you can get it done in 2 to 3 light coats is pretty ideal for that. Yeah. CW says they have a hefty tax. I've never looked into them. I don't use them, but I imagine they probably take anywhere from 10 to 25%. If I had to guess on the number they take, it would be 15%. If you don't mind, CW, I don't know if you could just look it up on their site if you're trying to join as an artist, but is it 15%? Let me know. Olivia says, does PayPal work to accept payments through Instagram? Yep, you can send a PayPal invoice to their email. Super chat from Young the Prince 302. Thank you so much. Says, what's the best way to use a reusable stencil when airbrushing? When I did it, the paint just went under everything. Instead of making lines, it made a blob. So when you're using a reusable airbrush stencil, you really want to go soft with how you're spraying the paint. And depending on the look you're going for, you sometimes will want to go a little bit closer, or you might want to go a little bit further with how close you're holding the actual stencil to the shoe. So let me grab one. I used this one on this shoe. I sprayed this mist color. So depending on the look I'm going for, if I'm just going for some really soft, light texture, I might, have it. It's obviously going to be really hard for me to show this with two hands, but I might have it almost just kind of loosely up against it, and then lightly spray there from 6 to 9 inches away. And but if I'm trying to go for a little bit more of a galaxy and have some little bit more punchy contrast, I might press that stencil a little bit more firmly up against here. But still, it's really about spraying from a decent distance away and very soft with your paint. So that is my best recommendation for starting to get familiar and playing around with reusable airbrush stencils. Yep, let's see here. Ooh, Stanislaw Rio says the custom movement takes advantage of artist. 10% on your price, shipping included, plus we shouldn't. Oh, Daniel coming in hot says, my opinion is that if your work is good enough, it will sell. We shouldn't support these accounts like the custom movement because they're just middlemen taking a hefty cut. So, I 100% know what you guys are saying. What can I say about those? So I don't use them. If you're just starting out, I try to always find the good in things. And so if you're just starting out, it could be a way for you to generate more business. You could look at it as, but you don't want to think of this way forever. Well, I wouldn't have that sale without them because I wouldn't have their eyes. They have pretty good followings on Instagram and stuff. They have a lot of eyes on their website. So if you have a cool pair that's going to get eyes on them, maybe you'll get someone to snag it. But like Daniel said, hey, if you're doing a good pair, it's going to sell regardless. It's going to find, when you do good work, it's going to, you're going to get eyes on your work when you do clean work. It's just, that's just the nature of the game. Like, just for example, there's an artist, she was on the last episode of Revering Your Customs. And I'll say this, she's one of the final 4 of the floral contest. Her name is Customs by G. Her name is Gina. She's out in Florida, I believe. And she is so talented. And very small following on Instagram, but if she keeps at it, she is going to really carve out a good niche for herself in the sneaker customizing world because she already has her own style and she has top-notch quality work. Now that I've seen her work twice in person, and she was actually going to be coming to the to our DCF experience course. So yeah, was super excited to meet her because she's incredibly talented. And yeah, I just think that's an example of if you continue to put out good work, so you're going to catch your break. You know what I mean? Continue to put out good work. That is just repetition. You know what I mean? Continuing to put out good work, and eventually it will catch on. You know what I mean? Don't lose hope. Yep. Let me see here. Yeah, Daniel says there's a lot to be said for building your following slowly and organically, though. Yep, absolutely. Not buying followers, absolutely. A lot of people will ask me, hey, how do I get to, I think we have like 88,000 followers on Instagram. And, people say, how do you get to, how can I get that many followers? Well, I've posted, if you average it out, I've posted almost once a day for like 8 years straight on Instagram. Now, over the last 2 years, I don't post every single day because now the way my feed is set up, you see, I got a debit card and I got a checking account, and I got a savings account, and the way that my savings accounts, if anybody gets that movie reference, shout out to you. But just the way that my Instagram feed is set up, I don't post every single day because now I do this little group post thing. But I always find a way to sneak in some movie references. Sorry, I can't help. I can't help when you're talking to yourself. But yeah, over time, that's how it happens. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't just boom overnight and gain hundreds of thousands of followers. Sometimes it happens, but it's all about consistency. You know what I mean? Rupsy says, I'd almost rather use that time in the beginning to just hone my craft rather than joining a group like that. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I feel so confident in the Steph Custom says Kevin Hart said something like that. Exactly. Yeah. I can't remember which movie it was in. It was in a movie where I think he's the best man in the movie, and it's a bachelor party and a bachelorette party both happening at the same time in Vegas or something like that. I'm a Kevin Hart fan, all right? He's funny. I don't care what anybody says. But following up with what Repsy said, at that time in the beginning, rather than just jumping into one of these middleman groups, honing your craft. That's why I really like the advice that we give nowadays of find 10 pairs of shoes from friends and family and beg them and search in your own closet and go to the thrift store. And, if you're just starting out, you got to bootstrap things. Just find 10 pairs of shoes for you to work on, test 10 different art styles, find what works best for you, create 5 pieces of content around them. You'll now have, 5 pieces of content times 10 pairs. You'll have 50 pieces of content to your Instagram. You got a nice little portfolio set up, and you'll just be able to, you do those 10 pairs and you test out 10 different styles. You're going to just learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. And yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Yep. Anthony Amos says, hone your marketing skills, not just your art. Sometimes it's the reason your growth is stagnant. Absolutely. Painting great custom shoes is only half the battle, because I think another huge portion of it that's so underdeveloped, and you guys hear me talk about it all the time. You guys know the word that's about to come out of my mouth. The photography. It's so easy as artists to just spend all these hours on the shoes and just say, let me just snap a quick photo wherever on my desk, and that'll do it. No, you gotta pour love into the photography also. You know what I mean? So for sure. Yep. I'm glad some of you guys caught that Kevin Hart reference. That's good. Last night I watched, when I was working last night, I watched Batman vs. Superman. And it wasn't the long extended director's cut. It was just the one that's, it's still a long movie, and man, because there's been some Batman news. We're getting Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, 2 Batmans in the same Flash movie coming up. I think 2021. Crazy news for superheroes fan. I'm a casual superhero fan. So I haven't seen every Marvel movie. I haven't seen every DC movie. I'm a casual fan, but I thought Ben Affleck is an awesome Ben Affleck is awesome as an actor, but he's a great Batman also. And Batman vs. Superman had a lot of potential, in my opinion. It was still pretty okay. Justice League, hopefully the Snyder Cut is awesome for that. But DC, Marvel gave such a great blueprint to follow, and DC just wet the bed with what they did. But let's see here. Tons of Posca pen talk. Do we have people asking if they can use the Poscas? I'm sure. Daniel says, I'm filming a Posca vs. Angeles custom video. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm going to copy it. After you give me the answers, I'm just going to steal what you do. Sound good, buddy? Just kidding. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. Yeah. I am excited to see that one, and yeah, I can't wait to do. That's one that we've had on the list forever. That we definitely do plan on doing soon. I say that a lot, but for sure. Let's see what else went on this week. Yeah, a lot of you guys ask pretty regularly, how many pairs do I do weekly, monthly, yearly, and usually I'll say it sort of averages out to about a pair a day or so per year. So in a year, how many pairs of shoes do you paint? Maybe around somewhere, it averages out to maybe around 350 or so. But each of the last, seemingly the last couple months, I've only really been on 1 to 2 pairs a week, because the pairs have been so much more complex than average. Because I told you, sort of at the start of the stream, a lot of the pairs that I've been commissioned for this year have been a lot more detailed designs and stuff. So my average amount of pairs per day has been down a lot, but we're also getting closer to football season. I'm already tired thinking about it and all of that stuff. So I'm excited to get going to a lot of cleats very soon. Yep, let's see. Abe says, will this live be on your channel later? It will be. It will be. You can come back later. Stanislaw Rio says, what do you feel about El Capi's recent work? I haven't seen El Capi post anything in a while. Let's go ahead and check him out. I'm a huge El Capi fan. He is a downright savage with an airbrush. He is so talented. Like, just his hand-painted camo prints are so damn good. But I haven't seen anything from him recently. Yeah, unless he has a different Instagram. Maybe I'm crazy, but it says this is his newest. The last thing he did, this is April. Let me know. Stanislaw, let me know. Does he potentially have a different Instagram? Am I crazy? But I think it is. I think it is. But yeah, like just his camos. Look at this stuff. This hand-painted tie-dye. So dope. Let me show you this is one of my all-time favorite pairs of custom shoes. Now look, we're barely that far scrolled down, and this is 2015. He hasn't posted much over the last few years. I met him one time. I don't know. I think he opened up a shop. I'm not really sure. I know he's so talented. Look at how sick these are. Like this tiger camo. He is so good, man. But he did this camo print on these Jordan 4s here. Look at this. This is so good. This is so good. I love these. I love these. I love these. I love these. Let me see. But he had this pair of LeBrons. It was one of my all-time favorite pairs. Let me find them. These Freddies are so dope. Shout out to Rupsy and Johnny's Kicks on those Freddy Sakai's. Those came out dope. Good stuff, fellas. Rupsy, you better bring me a pair of those when you come to Chicago in 7 days. I am a size 8.5, buddy. Yeah, check these out. I remember these LeBrons. I think this was the pair I was talking about. I thought they were a tiger camo, but this cheetah print. Man, so dope. So dope. I love these, man. Yeah, El Capi. Huge fan of him. Definitely, he was the first. El Capi was definitely the person that made me take the leap to customizing shoes when he painted the South Beach Jordan 6s. Let me see if I can go far enough back to find the pair that started it all for me. I saw these and said, I want to paint that shoe. Let me see if I can find the exact one. Crazy to look back at this stuff. I mean, this is probably 2013, 2012 when he did these Freddy 6s. Yep, okay, so they're not nope, that's not them. Those are inspired by the LeBron 9s. Okay, so I thought they might be one of his earliest pairs, but I did see them up here. This is probably just, he got commissioned for another pair a little bit later. So this wasn't the original picture that I saw. Where they at? Yep, those. Yep, because he even says it's a Throwback Thursday post. But yeah, super cool. Super cool. Let's see. Jim, my buddy Jim Smoke'em says, hey Dylan, what's happening, bud? Those Mahomes sneakers are insane. I need those sneakers. Let me know how much. Thank you. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. Yeah, this is a pair. This is one of those pairs that I'm already sad to see go. I just did the little photo set with them earlier. Got to package them up later, and I'm gonna be sad to box those up for sure. Mark, I see you had a question about getting paint on the sock liner. I see some people following up saying, hey, you got to chalk that one up. as an L, and sometimes that can absolutely happen if you have, you know, a white sock liner on maybe a Jordan 1 or an Air Force 1 and you get paint on there. Sometimes that white can be unforgiving. You can't really acetone it out. It's just going to smudge and smear. You can't really bleach it out. There's not necessarily a great way to get it out, so sometimes the thing you have to do is paint the sock liner now. You have to work a new color into your design. So let's say you maybe did an all red upper, just because I have a red shoe in front of me and you got some red paint on a white sock liner. Now you might have to paint that sock liner red or something like that. Yep. Tom Chesnut says, do you use a multi-coat system with an airbrush too, or is that just hand-painted? If you're talking about the portrait, I don't... Yes, that is all just hand-painted. I do lay down a stencil to get the deepest blacks of the portrait. Did I take a picture? I don't think I did. Let me see. I don't think I took a portrait. Okay, so you can sort of see it here. Switch. Okay, this is just an in-progress shot. I did the jersey and the helmet and everything first, and that's what the whole portrait looked like first, just the white and black, using the threshold tool in Photoshop to just get all of my deepest black so I can nail down all of my proportions and things like that. That technique is what I use in a video on our page called Quick Portrait Stencil Guide. So you can check that one out if you are interested. Yep. Let me see. We got a super chat here. Dragon Custom says, I tried the 813 stencil vinyl you recommend, and I couldn't get it to stick to the shoe. Not sure what I did wrong. I prepped the leather correctly. So I actually don't use 813. I use 811. A lot of sites say 813 and 811 are the same, but they're not. I've used 813, and yes, I use 811. That is the main white vinyl that you see me use. That's the one you always see me talk about. And yes, 813 is not the exact same thing, but when you're working with the vinyl like that, I know you do a lot of Air Forces, so you prep the leather correctly. Yeah, it heat sets very well onto Air Forces and things like that. So yes, maybe you bought 811 and you just said 813. Maybe you didn't heat set it enough. But yes, 811 is the one that I use and recommend. Frederico here says, can you paint a sock liner without an airbrush? You can. I just think it's a little bit more likely to turn out a little bit more stiff. So it's a little bit more ideal to use an airbrush because less paint is applied. Crucial XTM says, do you mass produce your shoes or do you paint them over and over? For example, someone like Serato. I'm sure he gets a ton of orders in at once. Does he paint all of the shoes over and over again? Well, if you're getting an order from a client, you're only... I could be understanding the question wrong, but do you mass produce your shoes or do you paint them over and over? For example, someone like Serato. I'm sure he gets a ton of orders in at once. Does he paint all of those shoes over and over again? So... I could be understanding the question wrong, but let's say something I might have recommended in the past. Let's say you had 5 orders. One thing that I do like to do, let's say I have 5 orders and I'm trying to do them all this week. One thing I recommend doing is prepping them all at once. So this way you have all of your prep supplies in front of you, taping them all at once. So you have all of your tape supplies in front of you, and then maybe even doing all of your airbrushing at once. This way, another great thing about that is then you can leave a lot of dry time in between coats on each of the pairs. So let's say I'm airbrushing one shoe red. Okay, cool. I can do a coat of red on here, clean my airbrush. Now I can move on to a coat of purple on another shoe, move on to a coat of blue on another shoe, all while these other shoes are drying. And just because it's going to take me time to move on to the other shoes, I'm going to get that natural dry time, which is good too. So if that's what your question is, yeah, I think that speeding up your workflow, being efficient like that is a great idea. That's something that we cover in our video called like, I painted 80 pairs in 20 days or something like that, where I'll talk about sometimes you do need to be efficient. but I don't think he's not painting over like he wouldn't take a shoe like this and then paint over it to do it again. No, because this shoe's for a client. So now this pair's done, send it to the client. So let me just know if I misunderstood your question. But yeah, working efficiency into your workflow is definitely a great idea. CW says, thoughts on light rings versus multi-head lamps. The ring lights are solid, man. That's a good little light. I think those are maybe, I've never had one, but I think those are like $50 or something like that. They're decently bright. They're solid. You can even hop on, you can use those for video and stuff too. These lights that I always recommend from Target, they're $30. And you can do great stuff with those too. I imagine those are probably a little bit brighter because there's 5 bulbs compared to a ring light. Yes. Matt Santiago here says, I got paint on the sock liner a few times and I was able to get it out completely with acetone. It just takes a few sessions. It also depends on the color you got in the sock liner though. Absolutely. So it also depends how much paint you got on there. And did you get it on there with a paintbrush? Did you get it on there with an airbrush, a little bit of overspray? You know, is there a thick heaping amount of paint applied onto the sock liner, or is it a little bit of light overspray? And is it a little bit of light yellow, or did you get black onto a white sock liner? You know what I mean? So it definitely depends. Daniel says, Dylan, will the Bulls blow that lottery pick? They cannot. They cannot afford to. The Bulls do not have to really compete in the NBA. You need a 1A superstar. You need a top 10 talent in the league to really compete for championships, and I don't think anybody on the Bulls has that potential. I don't think Laurie, Wendell, Zach, Kobe, White have that potential. I'm scared of LaMelo Ball, to be honest with you. I guess so. I don't watch college basketball, so I can't speak about Edwards, some of the other guys. I don't even know their names, to be honest with you. LaMelo Ball might have the highest potential, but he might also have the highest flop potential too. He probably doesn't pair that well with Levine and Kobe White since they're ball dominant chuckers kind of, but you have to hit a home run, and I think he might have the highest home run potential. So if Ball falls to 4, I don't know if he will, or if the Bulls have to trade up. Nobody's untradeable on the Bulls. If there's a move to move Laurie Wendell, I'm okay with anybody moving. You know what I mean? You need to get top tier talent to really compete. They got some nice pieces to build over time. Hopefully we get a good new coach. Glad we finally got a good new GM. But they need to nail it. They need a home run. And I'm not sure if any of the other guys are so. When you need a home run like this, you also just have to draft the best talent available. You don't say, well, we have Laurie and Wendell, so we don't need bigs. You know what I mean? No. If the best talent available is a big at the number 4 spot, you go and you get the big. You figure out the rest later. You know what I mean? You're not in a position to be drafting for need. So who knows? To be honest, just because I see that high upside with LaMelo, I guess I'm sort of hoping maybe they get him, but there was a lot of high upside for Lonzo, and he looks like when he had a pretty good year, but when in the restart in the bubble, he didn't look like much of an NBA player, to be honest with you. So yes. HC Customs here says, so I've noticed when I use a toothpick, my paint tends to bubble up and it starts to crack. Is this because I'm using a heat gun? Should I let the paint air dry? Absolutely. Let your paint air dry when it's with a toothpick, because when you're doing it with a toothpick, you're probably going a little bit thicker. So, yes, definitely let that air dry. No heat gun for that. Dragon Customs follows up and says, damn, I bought 813, not 11. Yep, you want 811. 811. CW says, Serato mass produces his slides. He does. Those, I believe, those are some type of printed thing. John Kelly says, this might be a dumb question. No such thing as a dumb question, John. But can I use a paintbrush on vinyl stencils? You can. And then Cruz Kick says, what's the best vinyl paper to use? I recommend Oracal 811. for most purposes. And then following up on Jen's question, you can with a paintbrush. Just like I always say, more paint is applied with a paintbrush than with an airbrush. So you might have a little bit higher potential for some of that paint leaking. ONB says, is prep the most important on a custom shoe? If you want it to be durable, it sure is. Rupsy says, I'm doing 14 pairs of the same design. I'm doing 5 pairs at a time, kind of like an assembly line. So I know you guys were doing a 13-pair run, so I'm hoping that 14th pair is for me, bud. I'm doing 5 pairs at a time, kind of like an assembly line. Man, you ought to just bring the rest of Chicago. We'll bang them all out in a day, man. I'll help you prep them, tape them. Well, those are, the Sakai's have, that's all fabric, so you don't even have any prep work on those, right? Are those all fabric? I've never even held one of those Sakai's in hand, but I think so. But yeah, those turned out so dope, dude. 5 at a time. I wonder if it's just for your mental sake. Rupsy, elaborate a little more. Why aren't you doing all 14 at the same time? How come you're not doing, just so you have all of your red paint in front of you, you have all of your green paint in front of you, you have all of your beige paint in front of you? How come you're not doing them all at the same time? I'd love to hear the why. Yep, let me know. Oh, okay. Crucial follows up here, says, say you do a pair of shoes and you put them on your site. On Serato's site, you can choose how many you want, what size you want, etc. Would you keep getting the same shoe and paint the same thing over and over? Yeah, if a customer orders one of his Galaxy Air Max 90s, yep, he's going to then have to go and get the shoe and then paint that same thing. Yep. So LaMelo, yeah, is LaMelo going to go 1? This is a weird draft because there's not necessarily that consensus number 1, like that number 1 lock, like Zion. I don't know. I think all of these teams are just going to be drafting the best talent, who they view as the best talent available. It's who I'm really excited to see, because I want them to have a second run almost, is who do the Warriors end up with? Like, what an awesome situation for whatever rookie goes second to then be put in a situation where you're not, typically when you're, something that happens when you get drafted high in the lottery is you go to a team that had a very bad record because they were a bad team. Golden State had a really bad record because of injuries, not really because they were a bad team. They have a great coach. They have they went to 5 straight finals. They have a winning culture. They have a great GM. So somebody who gets drafted and goes to Golden State is going to a winning culture. That doesn't happen when you're a lottery pick. Typically, you go to a losing culture because you go into a losing team. So what an opportunity for a rookie to go into a winning culture like Golden State with 3 All-Stars in Draymond, Clay, and Steph. And who knows, maybe they'll even be able to unlock Wiggins and turn him into a valuable role player there. So I hope that they draft. I'm excited to see who they're able to draft. Yep. Andre says, hey, Dylan, sorry if I spelled it wrong. Do you have a rough idea when the next competition is? I really missed my opportunity because I was late. We'll probably do one for the fall. So it's August now. That video is going up end of August. We'll probably announce it maybe a month later, maybe end of September for, maybe an October, November type contest. We got some cool ideas. I've said some in the past, but we might not go with those. Jason and I went over some cool ideas. We went over some good ideas the other day. Yep. Best brush set. I use the Princeton Select series. That is what I recommend. Okay, guys, we will go for about another 10 minutes or so here. 2 All-Stars. Draymond is overrated. Draymond is... he ain't overrated for that system and for playing with those guys. There was, when Draymond was a free agent a couple years back, there was a lot of talks about like a team like Detroit giving him the max. And Draymond would not be the same player, I think, if he went to one of those, if he went to a team that didn't have as much talent as Golden State. But when he's playing with those guys and he just gets to play great defense, set great screens, and be a roll man who can kick to the corners to world-class shooters, Draymond is phenomenal in that role. So there's also a reason that Draymond is a guy who you would want on the Olympic teams or the national teams, because you put him surrounded by other good players, he's going to do great things. Draymond is not a 1A. Okay, he's not a just surround him with mediocre talent and he's gonna raise everybody's ceiling. You know what I mean? Sometimes with all-stars, you talk about, are they a ceiling raiser or are they a floor raiser? So like a guy like KD, if you set him with a bunch of mediocre players, he's the only good player. Does he raise the floor where they're a playoff team no matter what, or does he raise the ceiling where now he's so good that they have the potential to compete for a championship just because he's there? And Draymond is not somebody I view as a floor raiser, where you put him on any team and they're automatically just a little bit better. You know what I mean? No, he's a ceiling raiser that if you surround him with other great talent, you got good potential. You got good potential. Draymond, Marcus Smart, Drew Holiday, Rudy Gobert are underrated because they're defensive players first, for sure. You want to know something funny? There's a great podcast that Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson do called All the Smoke, and they have a ton of NBA guys on, and he always asks, who do you think is the most underrated player in the NBA? Without hesitation, every single person says Drew Holiday, which is awesome. Love Drew Holiday. Let's see. The Right Magic sends in a super chat. Would you want to customize a car's interior? I'm wanting to do mine, but a bit scared and I don't know what I should paint. Mel, I saw you just got a new car. Looks phenomenal. I can only imagine what you would do on the inside. I think I would love to do it. I actually, when my wife first got her new car years back, she wanted me to, she asked me if I was down to paint. She has this leather strip on some panels, not the entire seats, but she has these leather panels on some of the interior that she said, oh, would you paint cheetah print on here for me? And we were going to do it. We never ended up doing it, but I think that would be super cool to do, as some accent pieces. You know what I mean? Super cool. And I would love to see what you would come up with. But that is definitely something that I would love to do. I've wanted to do, I want to do a leather chair too. I know Chad Can Color has done one in the past, but I would love to do a cool leather chair for here in the studio. So yeah. Okay, guys, another 5 minutes or so here. Okay, yes, I will. 5 minutes, we'll quickly run through some Instagrams. Pipple, I see you've been asking a bunch, buddy. Big supporter of the page. We'll gladly check that out. I won't be able to get to many of these guys, to be honest with you, because it is time. It is family o'clock. Gotta go get my little scrunch Dexter. Just turned a year and a half, guys. Boy, oh boy, man. It is just watching them grow, the more they can do. And now every day when I pick him up, he runs. He's so excited to see me and hugs me. And boy, oh boy, does it melt your heart. Let's see. Pitbull Custom Shoes. Okay, so taking a look here at the Instagram. Okay, so first thing I want to take note of. So when you post a video to Instagram, you can select a cover. I think it's like the third thing that you would do. You would want to make sure that the cover is not the black screen here. So if we just take a look at that second video there, right before you post the video, you select a cover and make sure that you select a portion of your video to be a cool cover, because you don't want just the black screen. Now when I go to check out your feed, check out this gradient. That's dope. This is a cool pair. Yep. Like that gradient. And the drip, that's nice. Let's see some of the other work here. Work in progress. I like you doing a lot of works in progress. Oh, check out the Freddie and Chucky pair. Yes, I love the Freddie and Chucky because they're both They both wear striped sweaters, which is really cool, and you play that up here. I have a pair in mind to do in the future. You guys don't need to hear about what I want to do, but I have a pair to do, sort of the four of the coolest horror villains of all time. You have Freddy and Chucky, and then you have Michael and Jason. And doing Freddy and Chucky on one pair, because I could play up the stripes on the sweaters of them, and you know, their skin tones. In some of the later sequels for Chucky, he's all scarred up, and obviously Freddy has the burnt face. And then for Michael and Jason, I can play up, obviously super dark and gritty, but both of their masks too. So that's a pair that I want to do in the future. But yes, Freddy and Chucky, playing up the stripes. This is great color blocking. The portraits on the inside, good stuff, man. That's ambitious to do the portraits, and you nailed them. I love this Wu-Tang pair. These are so dope. Yeah, the toe boxes, the graffiti stencil that you did was so clean. I remember you sent me a picture of these. Look at that. Badass. And then the honeycomb print. Yep. Ooh, I like the roses here on the Air Force Ones. It's clean stuff, man. Yeah, look at Freddy. Look at the Freddy portrait. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yes, I very much enjoy the sheer volume of content you're pumping out. Yep. Because, yeah, your page isn't even that old. I remember you showing me these Phillies Air Force. This is June, 3 months back, and look at all the content you're pumping out. Great stuff. Now, just taking it to another level, like shots like this, I'm just going to objectively say this is not a good photograph. You know what I mean? And there's reasons why. Okay, so you just have it on the windowsill. We have the cars in the background, the neighbors across the street and whatnot. The shoes are very small. They don't take up a large portion. When you have the two shoes very wide here, we have this small photo, so it doesn't take up a lot of real estate as somebody's scrolling on Instagram. Whereas if you had a little bit more of a vertical photo, the background, the outside is a lot more lit, whereas you don't have enough light shining at the front of the shoes, so they're not as well lit. So the quantity of content you're putting out these in-progress shots, I very much enjoy. Now, the next step is let's just even turn up the quality of these in-progress shots. You know what I mean? Let's make these in-progress shots even more enjoyable. Like, I think that this is a better in-progress shot, just sort of, with all your paints in the background. It's still colorful. It's better lit than those shots. So, yes, that is what I would say. But then the little stuff I said about making sure you select the right cover for your feed, for your video. But great stuff. Great stuff, Pitbull. Okay, we had another super chat come in from HC Custom. Says, this is for taking your time answering our questions. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much, HC Customs. Truly appreciate you guys. Truly appreciate you guys and your support here on these live chats. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for joining. And it's awesome that you guys tune in week after week, and I get to chat with you guys. Very cool to see. Repsy has a funny one. Says, Dylan about to hit Applebee's and that crispy floral shirt. Get him a tall Miller Lite and some boneless wings. Mild. Man, oh man. There is a meme. I gotta find it. Man. Oh man, it's one of the funniest memes ever. Because I could totally see me doing this in the future with Dexter. Okay, yes, this is gold. This is what we'll end with. This is gold. All right, so it's a little text message, and it's a son texting his dad, and it says, can I borrow this shirt, Dad? And it says, do not fucking touch, taking your mother to Chili's tonight. And when I first saw that, I couldn't help but laugh. And look at how similar this shirt looks to that. And I can totally see Dexter years from now saying, hey, Dad, can I wear that shirt? And me saying, don't you dare touch it. I am taking your mother to the Olive Garden tonight, Dexter. And yeah, that's good stuff, man. Repsy, I hope you're ready for some Chicago pizza next week. And yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. Truly appreciated it. We got the Final Four for the DCF Floral Contest coming in, guys, next week. If you guys haven't already, make sure you come on over to the Discord. CW, if you don't mind, drop the Discord link here not in the chat, but in the comment section of the video. Do I have it linked in the description? Yes. Oh, I have it linked in the description. You can go ahead, join our Discord, the official Toothpick Gang Discord. Chat with a bunch of other people who love custom sneakers. A lot of people can help you out in there too. It's we got a nice tight run ship over there. So yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. I've said that multiple times already, but that is going to be it for me. Another successful episode of DCF Live. We will see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody.